Hello. I hope you've been having a very good weekend so far, or week if you're watching this much later after I am posting it. But welcome back to my second ever booktube video. I've been getting a couple comments on my TikTok page, same username as here, about a bookshelf tour. Now, the bookshelf tours that I have seen online, these people have hundreds upon hundreds of books. Now, I may not have hundreds and hundreds upon hundreds of books, but I do have plenty here to talk about. So first I'm going to walk you through all my various knickknacks that I have up on the top of the shelf. This is my TBR shelf. This is the books I've read. I have a shelf on the very bottom that you can't see from this angle for books that I read during undergrad. And I'm going to talk to you about all of it. And I'll also show you my little reading nook I have on the other side of the room. So I have many things to talk about. I hope you'll join me. Before I talk about anything specific, I wanted to talk about the bookshelves themselves, okay? Because even they have a backstory. Everything is a backstory here. First off, my first bookshelf, you'll notice that they're identical. They are the same shelf. The first one I got from a kid that I used to work with, and he was moving out of the state, and he said, I don't want any of my furniture, come and take all of it. So I got this bookshelf from him. I got a futon, I got like a floor fan, I got this giant mirror that ended up having mold on it. Brandon, come on, why would you do that to me? But my favorite thing that I got from him, obviously, is my very wonderful bookshelf. And so I used this in my apartment for the past 2 years, and then I outgrew it. I was kind of nervous. I thought, oh, I have to find a bigger bookshelf. But during move-out week of my apartment, I found this one by the dumpster, and it is identical. It's the same bookshelf. So now I have 2 identical bookshelves, and I didn't pay for either of them. So, I don't know, thank you, fate, for giving me both of my bookshelves. Okay, now to the knickknacks. As you can see behind me, I have a lot of knickknacks. And as I'll talk about, especially with my books, I buy a lot of stuff secondhand. So I think everything up here has a backstory to it because none of it was just bought at a store. Well, bought new at a store, I suppose. So most things here have a little bit of personality, I would say. First off, we have this glass vase with 2 peacock feathers in it. We have this family friend who has a lot of chickens, so we buy eggs from him, and he also has peacocks, of which he calls the girls. And so these are 2 feathers from the girls, and they are very pretty. Next, I have third eye sunglasses. On my first date with my boyfriend, many years ago now, we went to a psychic fair for our first date, and we both got these third eye sunglasses. Next, I have this monkey lamp. You would be surprised how many monkey lamps one person can acquire. I have many, many monkey lamps. And by many, many, I mean like 3 or 4. Okay, I'm not that crazy. But paired with this frilly jungle-like lampshade, this monkey lamp sits perfectly and fits perfectly on top of my bookshelf with everything else. Next, we have this fall candle setup. I bought this a couple weekends ago at a church rummage sale for $1 for the candle, brand new, plus the fall setting that it is in. And I think that you will be seeing this in the background of my videos for the next couple months because this is the perfect time of year to use it. And I need to take advantage of that $1 purchase. Next, we have this weird statue. I'm actually not even sure what this statue is, but I bought it at a Goodwill for, I think like $2. And I used to keep it over with my crystals and such. Next, I have this little brass incense burner. I usually tend to not like the smell of incense very much, so I never really use this for its intended purpose. But whenever you do use it, it has some cool smoke coming out of those holes. It does look pretty cool. Now let me move you over here a little closer. Now, on the other bookshelf, I obviously have many more lamps. This one was just bought at a Goodwill. My mom bought it for me, gave it to me for Christmas. I love the light that it spreads up on the wall. It is a very cool addition to the back of my videos. This book that it is sitting on top of is from the 1800s, which is awesome. I bought it for $1 at a thrift store. When Greek Meets Greek. I don't know if I'll ever read it because I'm a little frightened to open it up because it will probably break the instant I open it up. So it has become a decor piece. I have this little tiger's eye cat statue, which is just a small little addition to show that I like cats. I have 7 of them. That's not weird at all. It's definitely not weird. I have 7 cats, so of course I need a little cat statue on here. If you looked at my channel and you saw that I posted a video 4 years ago about my mom and I going to a crystal show, like a wholesale market, that is the same place that I acquired this jade frog. For years and years and years, I wanted a jade frog, but I could never willingly pay so much for a jade frog. These are very expensive. Maybe because they're so lucky, but they're very expensive. So I was never willing to pull the trigger until I found one at a wholesale market for $5. So, lucky jade frog with a lucky jade coin in his mouth now sits on top of my bookshelf and gives good vibes. Next, I have this wolf statue. As I'll show you in a second, I also have a wolf dream catcher. I am very much into wolves. I like monkeys and I like wolves. So this wolf statue is a very cute addition. My mom bought it for me, gave it to me for a holiday. Thank you, Mom. Very cute. And look, he's smiling too. How cute. And sitting under that wolf is this copy of Brothers Karamazov. This is a book that I have not read because this is the only version of it I have ever found secondhand, and the spine is falling off. So the same thing with the book from the 1800s. This is a book that I simply cannot read because it is absolutely falling apart. So I promise I'm not a poser for having a book that I haven't read on display. It's falling apart. I tried. And then lastly over here, I have my beautiful changing color moon lamp. It has various settings, but I just like it when it rotates through all of the colors. I mean, it's so cool that way. And it is sitting on top of a lion brass stand. Originally it came with some, little cheap wooden stand, but I think it needed a cooler stand, and I think that this one really does it justice. The last thing of note above my bookshelf is this wolf dream catcher. This was also found at a thrift store by my mom. Thank you, Mom, once more. And I just think it is the perfect cap on top of my shelf. My bookshelf on the right here is my TBR shelf. I don't have a very sophisticated organization system. I just have one shelf of unread books and one shelf of read books. I do divide my read books up a little bit better than my unread books, but I'll show you that in a minute. But in simple, these are the books that I have not read yet. So this is the old TBR shelf. Now, before I started filming this video, I was a little curious, so I crunched some numbers, okay? I have 64 unread books. Now, that may sound like a lot, but I thrift all my books. If you're here, you've probably seen me post TikToks where I show you the books that I have thrifted recently. So I thrift all of my books, and pretty much I get them for $0.25 or $1. And I recently went to a lot of free little libraries and did some trade-ins. So all of these books are secondhand. I don't not a single book on this shelf is new. Well, one of them is. This one is new, but even that has a story. So of these 64 books, they came to a total of $36.35. So that's 60 cents per book. That's crazy. $36 would get you maybe 2 books brand new if you're lucky, but I have 64 of them. So while I think that you that you probably shouldn't have a bunch of unread books, because at that point, you know, what's the point of buying books if you're not going to read them? For 60 cents a pop, I mean, come on. The most expensive book on here is $5, but for the most part, they're $0.25 and $1. And 64 isn't even that high of a number. I also don't think that 64 is that high of a number, because then I have all the options in the world. So it's like I have something for every single mood. So just to maybe show a couple books. This is the most expensive book on my TBR shelf, Man of My Time. I paid $5 for this. Now this is a brand new book, but there is a warehouse about maybe a 2-hour drive from my house that once a month, they do a 70% off sale that is open to the public. And so I got this book brand new, but it's 70% off. So it cost me $5 and like some change. So just $5, okay? So I got this book for $5, and I have yet to read it, but I am very interested in doing so. It is about a man who lives in New York, and his father's dying wish is to be buried in Iran. And it is kind of just like complicated family dynamics, you know. I don't know. Interested in reading this one. It is within the 100 notable books of 2020, says the New York Times, so it must at least be a pretty decent book. So I thought it was worth $5 and a couple pennies. Maybe to highlight a book that I am super excited to read. Okay, War and Peace. This is obviously a huge book, and so I'm a little intimidated to read it. I will get to it eventually. But I got this book for free because I had a coupon for doing my library's summer learning challenge, and then I went to my library's book sale maybe a month ago, and so I used my coupon for a free book to get this free book. So that is definitely one of my TBR I'm pretty proud of. Let's see. Very tightly packed into the top shelf, I have this hardcover edition of The Count of Monte Cristo. I got this for $1, and since it is about 1,500 pages and hardback, this thing weighs about 50 pounds. But for $1, I mean, what a deal. I got this at a church rummage sale. So, if you are interested in thrifting books because you want 64 books for $36.35, if you're interested in getting deals such as these, start thrifting books. Now, obviously, you can go to the chain thrift stores like a Goodwill or a Salvation Army. They're always open. Though you do tend to get your better deals at a more mom and pop style thrift store. Like there is one run by a bunch of ladies at a local church, and they sell their books for $0.25, so I get most of my good deals there. Or if you look for local church sales, a lot of times I get really good books there too, or free little libraries. So I go a lot of places for my thrifted books, so a lot of effort and a lot of fun. Thrifting books, not only is it really cheap, but it's also the thrill of the hunt. You never know what you're going to find. You never know how much it's going to cost you. And, you know, you never know what your next read's going to be. So I have built a wonderful collection behind me, And it's been super fun too. So yeah, I like to spend time in the Barnes & Noble or the bookstore. I like the bookstore, but I have 64 books at home that I love so much that I paid pennies for. This is the shelf of books that I have read. These top two shelves here are pretty much books that I've read by choice and for leisure, and then this bottom shelf that I will talk a little bit more about in a second, those are books that I read while getting my undergrad in history. So I am thinking about making a video where I talk about, some of my favorite books that I had to read for my undergrad degree. If you're interested in that, please let me know. But first I want to talk about my two red shelves here. Pretend there's not a gap right here. I will fill it. I'm reading books. Let's see. So to just talk about a couple standouts. Obviously, a very big book on my shelf here is Lonesome Dove. This is probably my favorite book of all time. It is about a group of cowboys going on a cattle drive from Texas to Montana. And, it's sweet and it's brutal and it's character driven. Like, by the end of this story, you love these guys so much and they feel so real to you, and everything that they say just sounds, human. I love this book. I just wanted to talk about that. The reason that I have some horizontal stacks here is because since these bookshelves are cheap, they're definitely from Walmart originally, even though, I found this one in the dumpster. Really tall hardcover books don't fit standing up straight. So I have to make some vertical stacks. But you know what? I kind of like the way that looks also. It just makes books a little bit harder to get off the shelf whenever I want to look at them, but that's okay. So these two shelves are my books that I've read. On this shelf, I have 44 books between these two shelves, and those aren't all the books I've read. I tried to take out books that I didn't enjoy very much. Behind the camera, there's a stack of like 20 books that I'm going to put in free little libraries around my neighborhood, just because I don't want them anymore, because I don't want to be weighed down by books that I didn't even enjoy reading. So these are 44 books that I liked and I want to keep. And lastly, I wanted to talk about my bottom shelf of books here. These are the books that I read during my undergrad and I deemed worth keeping, because a lot of them I kind of didn't even read them or I didn't care for them, but these books I actually see value in. I think there's like 20 of them. First off, this has nothing to do with books at all, but this is a, what do you call it, a shoehorn? Or is that putting on the shoes? I don't know. This is, you're supposed to keep this on the ground and you use it to take your shoes off, but I just think that that's awesome. So I put it on my bookshelf. But the way that I have these here are, these books were for a German history class that I took, probably my favorite class of all of college. That class was awesome. These books on the right here they were all from the same professor. I took the same professor twice, so they're kind of thematically Roman, or at least ancient times-esque. And then these books in the middle here are kind of just from random classes. This first one was about the Vietnam War. It is from an American class. This Coming of Age in Mississippi, that was also from the same American class. And then these two on the bottom were a business history class, which I cannot believe that was interesting. I think the professor was just awesome. So to pull out a couple notable ones, this Rumor of War, I loved this. So I can't believe, I should have said this earlier. My undergrad was in history, so I took a lot of history classes. So for this American class, we obviously talked about the Vietnam War. This American history class, it kind of only spanned from like the 1930s to the 1970s. So we talked about Bob Dylan, we talked about the Vietnam War, we talked about, civil rights, talked about all sorts of things in that 50-year span of time. But this was probably my favorite book that I read in that class. It is, you know, kind of just about the like idealism of being a hero in war, and all of these boys would go to war thinking that, you know, they're gonna be these big heroes and it's gonna be cool to fight in a war, and then most of them found out that, oh my god, this is awful, I don't want to be here. This book was very, very good. It is a I guess it's autobiographical. It's a memoir. Let's see. The German history class introduced me to Stefan Zweig. I've been seeing a lot more of Stefan Zweig on the internet than I thought I would have. But this is Stefan Zweig's autobiography, and we use this in the German class to kind of, you know, gauge through the times, to just kind of get a feel of what society in Germany felt like kind of leading up to the world wars and, you know, kind of public sentiment. This was awesome. I need to read Stefan Zweig's fiction, because if he can write an autobiography that is this good, I mean, come on, get me in there. So the only thing I have left to show you now is my reading nook setup, which I personally think is a very cute setup. But that's it for my bookshelf tour. And this is my little reading nook. Spent a lot of time over here next to the window, and it has some of my favorite pieces ever. This monkey lamp. As I said before, my mom and I go to a lot of church rummage sales, and this baby was on the table for $8. This was a very crowded sale, many people shoving people around, but my mom ran across the church, seeing this far off. She ran up to it and grabbed it, knowing that I was going to need it and that I was going to love it. This was my first ever monkey lamp, and it is absolutely huge. And this just shows how much my mom loves me, because she definitely doesn't want a monkey lamp in her home, but she still grabbed it for me anyway, so thank you, Mom. Next, for my candle setup here, I have this little monkey guy who's definitely supposed to be a pen holder for a desk, but he perfectly holds a lighter for my candle. This candle itself seems uninteresting, but I'm pretty proud of it, because the first year that I lived in my apartment building, I won the Halloween door prize, and that was one of my prizes. So somehow 2 years later, I have yet to use all of it, so I've been trying to light it up a bit more. But that is my reading setup. So that is my finalized bookshelf tour. And this goes to show that you don't have to go do book hauls from Barnes & Noble to the tune of $300 just to fill your home library. You can do it with just a few dollars. You can come up with something wonderful if you just put forth a little bit of effort, a little bit of time. You can really accumulate some very cool things, or at least I think so. But you can accumulate some really cool things and some things that you love. You can make a shelf space that really, really speaks to you. I love these shelves, and it also shows that your shelves don't have to be complicated either. You don't have to have these vast organization ideas where this is my classics, these are my, maybe Penguin editions, these are my, you can make your bookshelf what functions best for you. And this is what functioned best for me. And I really enjoy it. I am really proud of my bookshelf. And I'm also proud that, 64 books for $36, just to reiterate, that's awesome. But long story short, this is my bookshelf. And I hope you enjoyed watching. And I hope to post another video again next weekend. So like, subscribe, follow for more. Thank you so much for watching.